This is for educational use only. Our group is allowing our instructor, Mr. Rodan Aldines, to use this as an educational material.
Learning objectives. At the end of this video, students should be able to, at first, define Asian regionalism. Second, differentiate regionalization from globalization, analyze how. And lastly, Asian states confront the challenges of regionalization and globalization.
So, what is regionalism? Regionalism is a political ideology that favors specific region over the greater and usual happen. Because of the political separations, religions, geography, cultural boundaries, linguistics regions, mineral division in the short in the economic operation. These economic arrangements of a group of countries aim at facilitating or enhancing regional integration. These are the example of a regionalism. Cultural regionalism. So, in a cultural regionalism is there have literary regionalism, architecture, and cuisine. So second is economic regionalism. So these are they have two in economic regionalism: trade agreements, regional development of policy. Third is a political regionalism. So they have autonomy movement, decentralization. And fourth is environmental regionalism. So there's a two. So regional conservation efforts and regional planning. So fifth and last, in the last, they have a social regionalism. So they have two. Language perspectivation, and education system.
Regionalization refers to the process of countries within a specific region forming alliances and cooperating on various plans, often to strengthen their collective economic, political, and cultural ties. Its more location of integration focus on interest and issue pertinent to a particular region. Globalization, on the other hand, is the process of increasing interconnectedness and interdependence across the entire world. It involves the integration of economies, culture, and governments on a global scale, often divided by advancement in technology, trade, and communication.
What is Asian regionalism? Asian regionalism refers to the process by which countries in Asia come together to form cooperative agreements and partnership in areas such as economic, politics, security, culture, and social development. It is a way for Asian nations to work collaboratively to address regional issues, enhance economic growth, and improve their global standing. Example of regionalism. One prominent example of Asian regionalism is the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, established in 1967. ASEAN is a political and economic organization of 10 Southeast Asian countries. Its goals to include promoting economic growth, social progress, and cultural development in the region, as well ensuring regional peace and stability. Through ASEAN members, countries collaborate on issues such as trade, security, and environmental protection, making it key example of regionalism in Asia.
Advantages and disadvantages of regionalism. On the positive side, regionalism helps neighboring countries to trade more easily, share resources, and create jobs, which boosts economic growth and improves infrastructure. It also promotes peace and stability by providing a platform for resolving conflicts, making the region safer. Additionally, countries within a region can learn from each other cultures, leading to better understand and to preservation of unique traditions. However, there are also downsides to regionalism. Not all countries benefit equally well there country often gain more. While poorer countries may struggle, countries might also need to give up some control over their own decisions, which can cause tensions of region policies that align with national interest. History rivalries or different national goals can lead to conflicts within the region. Relying too much on regional trade can be risky. If one country in the region faces an economic crisis, it can affect the whole region. In summary, while regionalism offers many benefits like economic growth, peace, and cultural exchange, it also brings challenges like inequality, loss control, and potential conflicts. The success of regionalism depends on how well these pros and cons are managed by the countries involved.
What are the factors of regionalism? First, the geographic proximity. Countries that are close to each other tend to have similar challenges and opportunities, so it makes sense for them to collaborate. For example, the countries in the Mekong River basin, such as Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam, share the river as a crucial resource for agriculture, fishing, and energy. Their proximity leads them to collaborate on managing the river's resource through initiatives like the Mekong River Commission. Second is the cultural and historical ties. When countries have a similar culture or shared history, they understand each other better, which makes cooperation easier. For example, China, Japan, and Korea share deep historical connections, including the influence of Confucianism, Buddhism, and a shared history of trade and conflict. These cultural and historical ties contribute to cooperate in the areas like education, exchanges, and cultural preservation. Third is the economic benefits. Working together can boost trade, attract investment, and help all the countries involved grow economically. For example, ASEAN promotes economic integration among its members, such as Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand. By reducing trade barriers, ASEAN has increased trade investment within the regions, boosting the economies of all member states.
What is neo-regionalism? Neo-regionalism is a concept in international relations and economics that emerged in the late 20th century. It refers to the formation of regional blocs or alliances among neighboring countries driven by economic, political, and cultural interests. Unlike the earlier wave of regionalism that was often state-led and focused on protectionism like the European Economic Community in the 1950s. New regionalism is more market-driven, flexible, and diverse in its forms. For example, EU or European Union, although it began as an economic community, the EU has evolved into a political and economic union with its own currency, the euro, and its institutions. So neo-regionalism is seen as a way for countries to strengthen their position in an increasingly interconnected world while retaining some control over their economic and political destiny.
How does regionalization affect globalization? Regionalization, while often seen as a building block for globalization, can also have both positive and negative effects on global economic integration. Regionalization can encourage cultural exchange within a region, which can then extend to a broader global context. As regions integrate, they often embrace diversity and cross-cultural communication, setting the stage for more open global interactions. Regionalization can positively affect globalization by creating stronger economic ties, improving competitiveness, fostering innovation, and promoting global governance and environmental sustainability. These benefits can make globalization more efficient, equitable, and sustainable in the long run. The creation of regional blocs can sometimes lead to a loss of sovereignty for member states. For example, countries joining the European Union often have two some of their decision-making power to the European institution. Regionalism can also lead the exclusion of countries outside the regional blocs. This can create trade barriers and hinder economic development.
Regionalism in the Philippines manifests in their preference for local and regional interests over national concerns. It also reflects the country's diverse cultural and linguistic landscape, where different regions have distinct identities, tradition, and priorities. So here are some examples of regionalism in the Philippines. So first is political influence. In Philippine elections, regionalism often plays a significant role. Voters may prefer candidates from their own region, believing they will better represent local interests. For example, candidates from the Visayas region may receive overwhelming support from voters within that region, regardless of their national platform, due to shared cultural and regional identity. Next is economic inequality. The economic development of different regions in the Philippines can vary significantly, influenced by regionalism. For instance, Metro Manila and neighboring regions like Calabarzon have seen rapid economic growth due to their proximity to the capital, while regions like Mindanao have historically lagged behind. This is partly due to the focus on local economic initiatives that benefit certain regions over others. And lastly is cultural identity. Regionalism also evident in the strong cultural identities of different regions. The Ilocanos, Cebuanos, and Waray each have distinct languages, tradition, and practices that they prioritize and preserve. These cultural differences can sometimes lead to regional pride and sense of distinction from other parts of the country. So in summary, regionalism in the Philippines manifests on how local identities, loyalties, and interests often take precedence over broader national concerns, affecting politics, economic development, and cultural preservation across the archipelago.
Moving on to the factors leading to the greater integration of the Asian region. So regional integration is a process in which neighboring states enter into an agreement in order to upgrade cooperation through common institutions and rules. So basically, it is a process by which two or more countries agrees to cooperate and work closely together to achieve stability and wealth. So the objectives of the agreement could range from economic to political to environmental, although it has typically taken the form of political economy initiative. So in this part, commercial interests are the focus for achieving broader socio-political and security objectives. So it has been organized either via supranational institution structure or through intergovernmental decision-making, or a combination of both. So how do we define supranational institutional? It is an administrative structure that goes beyond the boundaries of states, meaning there is a trade or kalakalan between the countries of the same region. So lastly, it often focuses on removing barriers to free trade in the region, increasing the free movement of people, labor, goods, and capital across the national borders, reducing the possibility of regional armed conflict, and adapting to cohesive regional stance on policy issues, such as environmental, climate, and migration.